So guys, I know I told you I was gonna come back with some stories of just, anything really. So today we're gonna talk about me seeing stuff, pretty much like spiritual stuff. And since I was a little girl, I've always been able to I'm pretty sure a lot of you do, that feeling that you get when you're alone and you get that chill or something. But the thing is, it wasn't just like I was alone all the time. I could be sitting right next to somebody and I would just be like, little did I know, my mom and my grandma see stuff too. I did not know at all until I got older. So, I think I had to be, this was my first experience seeing something. So I had to be about, let me see, I had to be about like maybe 6 or 7. This was in our first house when I was a little girl. We had one house that we stayed in, that was by a school that I went to and by my mom's job. And then we moved all the way across town to a completely different neighborhoods like past. So a different area. So when we were little, we lived in that house right there by my school. That house, so I had, like I said, I've always been able to see stuff since I was little. It's corner of my eye, I would see stuff. Even when I was little, I thought I seen something, but I was like, oh, okay, maybe I did it. Maybe it's just me. So I was like 6 or 7, and we were still in our first house. I used to sleep in the room with my sister on one of those old metal beds, like the ones that have like the bars, and they were like, it was weird. It was like a weird shaped pole with like the little bars in the middle. But anyway, she used to have like a full size bed. So it was me and her sleeping in the bed. And all of my toys, everything were in there. I usually slept with my parents. But just for some reason, I used to sleep with my sister too. And I remember that night I was laying down with my sister and she got up to use the restroom. And I think maybe she stayed in the living room or whatever it was. But I remember I fell back to sleep. I guess my sister fell asleep on the couch because I don't remember her coming back to the room. The next thing I felt was just like something staring over me. So imagine a little girl, just you're cuddled up in the bed with a blanket, and I'm just like, okay, you're asleep with your eyes closed, but you're like, okay, I feel something staring at me. So then I'm just like, I'm gonna open my eyes and nothing's gonna be there. So it's weird, when you're in the dark, but you can still see glares from outside or whatever. You still see a little bit of light come in, unless you got them blacked out curtains and stuff like that. We didn't have that. So we were able to see a fog light. I guess it was from our neighbor's house. They used to have a fog light outside. And I remember that their light, sometimes it gleamed on the window, which it let in barely any light. So I just remember I looked up and I seen this black shadow figure. This black shadow figure was super tall, and I knew it wasn't anybody in my household because it was just my mom, my dad, and my sister. So I knew, I'm like, okay, this ain't a robber. But and I was so little that I didn't understand at the time. So my body I felt stiff. Like I couldn't move. I was just like, oh my gosh, like, what am I doing? Like, why can't I move? And I just remember it was staring over me. I remember it staring over me and it was just looking at me. I could see the silhouette of like a man, but I can just see, you see the head tilting that way and that way, looking at me. And I only thing I could move was my eyes. I was just like, okay. I knew I was in shock, but I didn't know at the time it was sleep paralysis. I remember looking at it, just staring at it like, oh my God, go away, go away, go away, go away. Then I closed my eyes. I'm like, okay, it's not going to be there no more. It's not going to be there. No, it stayed there. I felt like I was frozen for minutes. I was just like, okay. And I kept my eyes closed. And as a little girl, my mom always told me to pray. Like, pray. Just pray. When you see something, pray. I never knew my mom was seeing stuff too. Like, I never knew. She never said nothing. She never said nothing, but I knew my mom was seeing stuff. Because after a while, I'm like, why is she telling me if I see something to pray? Like, I didn't understand. So, and I guess she never talked to me about it because she didn't want me to set that switch off, of course, to be like, oh, you do see stuff. So, I just remember I had my eyes closed and I was like, okay, go away, go away, go away. Soon as I felt my body like release, I was like, nope, jetted to my mom's room. I remember I jetted in there, I jumped on their bed and I laid down. And my dad and mom were like, what's wrong? What's wrong? I'm like, nothing, 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 nothing. So I remember I laid there and my parents are like, my mom's like, you sure? You're okay? I'm like, I'm fine, I'm fine. I just told her I had a bad dream. So she's like, oh, okay. So her and my dad hugged me. We fell asleep. The next morning I woke up and I remember telling my mom, I seen this guy. Like, I seen this guy. And my mom's like, what guy? And I just said, I seen something standing over me. So my mom was just like, oh, maybe it was just a bad dream or whatever. Like, she didn't want to tell me that she had seen it before too. Like, maybe when, I'm not sure when she didn't really tell me when, but she told me she had seen it before. So I was just explaining like the whole story. Like, I was just stuck there. So she's like, it's okay. When you see stuff, pray. So I told her, why do you, like, I was little. So I'm like, why do you keep telling me that? And she's just like, well, if you see stuff, just pray. That's all you have to do. So I'm like, okay, that stayed in my head. Whatever. Time went on, passed. We moved to our second house. This is going to be my second time seeing that same thing. So we moved to our second house. I was about maybe like a year and a half later. My sister had my niece at the time, so we were moving to a bigger house. Because at our old house, it was just mine and my sister's room, my parents' room. So this new house had, how many bedrooms? Had 4 rooms, had 4 bedrooms. So my little niece had a room, I had a room, and my sister had a room. So we had just got to this house, and when I mean we just moved to this house, I also felt stuff in this house. Like, for some reason, ever since that first experience had happened, anytime I went into somebody's house, I always got like a weird, ugly feeling, and I was just like, okay, like something's not right. And I'm like, maybe something's wrong with me. But no, I started to remember, like, think, okay, it's something here. Either way, we got to that new house. There was something in there, but that's going to be a different story for another day. This thing that I saw again was the sleep. Okay, I was sleep paralysis, whatever it was. I seen the thing over me again. So this time when I seen it, my room is to a different side of the house. My parents' room is on the other side of the house. So I had to run past my sister's room, past the restroom, past the living room, past the kitchen, all the way to my parents' room on the other side. So this time I was asleep. I was like 9, 10, something like that. But I just remember I was laying there and my room was like, my room's all this way. My bed's right here. I'm laying down asleep. And I just remember I thought I heard something outside. So I'm like, okay. So I opened my eyes and again, my body went stiff. And I just remember I was looking at this thing over me again. I'm just like, oh my God, what does this thing want? So I'm like breathing. And then the next thing I know, my body went loose because I was like breathing, praying. I'm like, okay, let me be able to run. Let me be able to run. Yes. I shit you not, I got up in front of this thing and ran. I'm like, no. Ran, jumped on my parents' bed again. I jumped on my parents' bed again. And then my mom was like, oh my God, like, what's wrong? Because we were in a new neighborhood, of course. So my mom was panicking. She's like, oh my God, is the baby, something wrong? I'm like, no. I'm like, I just got scared. So then I remember I laid down. I lay down and I told mom, it's okay. Went to sleep. So that was my experience of I kept seeing this. It's happened to me again 2 times, but that's, like I said, different story. So let's just say that's the story for today, and I will continue with more stories.